Hi there, welcome to our slightly delayed in filming, purposely so, end of year market update. This is the moment where I like to take an extra minute or two if I can and just talk about, reflect on what happened through 2022, particularly what happened towards the end of the year, and then try and turn my attention, if I can, to what we expect for the property market in 2023 as we fast approach the new year. Before I do that, I've been so grateful for everybody that has subscribed this year. Our YouTube subscribers have doubled over the course of the year, and we'd love to double them again next year. Thank you to everybody who has. For those who haven't, please do. And as I always ask, do click the like button. It really, really does help us out. So let's start by first of all taking a look back on 2022. And I would say that this was a year that was quite predictable in how it turned out. Perhaps not the back end of the year, I'll come on to that in a moment, but we could see that the post-pandemic boom of 2020 and 2021 was going to keep going through, at the very least, the first 6 months of this year. And so it came to pass. That's exactly what happened. Prices continued to rise, fueled by excessive demand. And you can see when you look back on the stats, Rightmove said that the average asking price across the Yorkshire and Humber region rose by 7.6% over the last year. The Land Registry actually says that prices rose by 12.6%. It's a huge value increase over the course of that year. But inevitably, that wasn't going to keep going. And the sudden change in the market was perhaps the thing that we weren't quite anticipating. And that was all down to the actions of the government in that moment. Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng, with the now infamous mini budget, triggered a huge response from the market, from the media, created this panic. Interest rate rises then started coming much thicker and faster than we expected, and that has then had a subsequent impact on the market. So let's just ponder for a moment what this has all looked like over the last couple of months, because it has been a really, really interesting period. We have seen the market undoubtedly respond, but it's not responded in the way that everyone would make out. Certainly when you look at the media, they've made a really, really big thing about what's gone on, and rightly so to an extent, but you have to remember the end of the year is always much quieter than in the spring, summer months, for example. We would always normally see a tail off in activity through October, November and December comparative to the months before. The difference has been that when you compare the numbers year on year, there's quite a profound difference. And the reason for that is that when we were trading through these boom periods, the market was producing activity that we would just not normally see in November and December particularly. But it's important to bear in mind that although the media reporting, buyer numbers falling by a third, this huge issue around affordability, and don't get me wrong, these are all things that are perfectly relevant, it's not quite as bad as they are making out. There is still an underlying level of demand there. And what we are seeing is if we look back to the numbers prior to 2020 and 2021, so by that I mean if we compare the number of buyers registering, the number of people visiting our website, the number of properties coming to market, these are numbers that look very similar to what we would have done in 2017, 18, and indeed in 2019. So much will depend on how the market responds into the new year. So with that in mind, let's turn our attention to next year. Let's look at what we expect to happen in 2023. And I'm not necessarily going to agree with everything that you hear out in the market. You may think this is the over-optimistic estate agent talking, but in general terms, I've been pretty accurate in terms of what we could see happening over the last few years. First thing to say, interest rates are going up. We know that. They're now at 3.5%. It's the highest rate that they've been for many, many, many years. That isn't to say, though, that that's going to materially alter whether or not people want to make their next purchase. Some people won't, and it is going to push buyers out the market. It's going to reduce the overall level of demand, but there'll still be plenty of people that want to make their next move, and they will be supported, this is my next point, by good liquidity available in the mortgage market. Lenders still have money to lend. That's a big difference from where we were in 2007-8 when we hit the last real issues in the market. Where people can borrow, they will. And the other thing that you have to bear in mind is that the volume of property available for people to purchase is still a lot lower than historically it would have been. Let me put some numbers on that for you. So yes, If you look back on a year ago, the number of available properties in the market is double what it was then. However, let's go back to where we were in 2018 and 2019. We are still 15 and 20% lower in terms of the number of available properties across our region as to what we were back then. So supply still remains constrained. People still can afford to borrow and there is money there to lend. And so that nicely leads me on to how I expect prices to move or not in 2023. How is the value of my property going to change? Okay, last couple of months, I'm going to say 100% we have seen a correction in the market. Prices have likely fallen back by at least 2 to 3% over that period. Now, what's difficult to know is whether or not that's just a seasonal adjustment that we would typically see again at this time of year, or whether that is a big shift in the market. But for the reasons I mentioned before, I'm not convinced that prices are on the whole likely to fall back a whole way through 2023. I know you'll be reading loads and loads of stuff in the press that says prices are going to fall by 10%, by 20%. I don't see it. And I think with the constraint on supply, as I've said, and with good money available in the market, I still think there will be enough buyers out there to keep prices at the very least where they are today. And if not, we may even see a couple of percent added on to the average asking price through the coming year. Of course, in order to find out whether or not I'm right, you're going to have to keep watching those videos. I will continue to challenge myself and I can admit if I'm wrong. Thank you for watching everything that I've filmed through 2022. Really do appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great Christmas, a wonderful, happy, healthy new year. Look forward to seeing you all in 2023. Thanks for watching.